Hot girls need to gatekeep themselves, and hot girls need to be comfortable being a little lonely in order to protect the power that they have created for themselves. When you're a gorgeous woman, there's one thing that people in society will always try to do. They will try to get close to you. But the thing is, when you're a hot girl and you've done a lot of work on yourself, your vibration is up here, and the people that are trying to get to you but have nothing to offer, they're down here. They can't get up here. And the only way for them to get closer to you, which is what they want and what they desire, is for them to get you to lower your vibration, aka lower yourself to get on their level. Because they're not interested in doing the work they need to do to actually be on your level. They want your company, they want your frequency, but they don't want to make the effort that you're making for yourself. This is why it's extremely important for hot girls to gatekeep themselves and have very strong and very firm boundaries. And this is also why the hotter you get, the meaner, more assertive, and the more picky you can be in terms of the life that you accept. Because when you're vibrating up here because you're putting a lot of effort into yourself and people are vibrating down here and they want to get closer to you, what they're going to do is that they're going to tell you that you're not all that. They're going to accuse you of all of these things. Some of the most gorgeous women in the world are always persecuted. Society will try to bring them down by saying, oh, you've been with this and this many men. Oh, well, you're not that educated. Oh, maybe you starve yourself. Or you're not that pretty under your makeup. Or actually, when you don't wear makeup, they'll tell you, oh, you're actually wearing makeup, I can tell. They will always find some type of thing to tell a gorgeous woman to make her feel less than, which makes the people who tell that to her feel better about themselves because they get that frustration of not wanting to level up and actually make an effort to get to your level out of their body temporarily. They don't want to deal with the emotions they need to deal with in order to get to your level. And that is not your problem. It is not your thing to deal with. This is why it's extremely important when you're a hot girl who's recently had a glow up and you haven't had the mental glow up yet. You haven't quite learned what it actually means to be a hot girl. It is important that you understand that every time you give in to any of these little comments from the low vibrational people, you are not becoming a better person. You are just compromising yourself and you are lowering your frequency to get closer to theirs because there is a big gap between you and them. And the big gap between you and them is what makes them extremely uncomfortable. And that might also be why you feel uncomfortable. This might be the reason why you feel like you need to morally prove that you're not a bad girl, that you're not none of these things that people are accusing you of. But it is not yours to prove. Even if you say, well, you know what? I do look beautiful without my makeup. Maybe someone accuses you of having had your whole face done. And you say, you know what? I didn't have my face done. Maybe someone accuses you of having a BBL, but that's just how you look. Every time you reply back and you try to solve the situation, you're giving them exactly what it is that they want. You're essentially saying you're a good enough person to sit down and have empathy with these people and let them spit in your face because you don't want to come off as rude. So you'd rather have them spit in your face. And people will try to get you off your pedestal of being a gorgeous woman all the time. And this is why you need to gatekeep yourself. And you shouldn't feel bad about the fact that some people perceive you a certain way. Reality is they probably don't perceive you a certain way. They just want a reaction from you because they don't want to listen to their own bodily and emotional reactions to seeing someone who puts so much effort into themselves. They feel so uncomfortable within themselves that they can't even keep this uncomfortability and inferiority within themselves. They don't have the strength within themselves to work on that. So they have to blurt it out. They have to project it onto someone. And because you haven't yet grown yourself mentally and learned how to gatekeep yourself, the beautiful woman who wants to be morally correct is one of the easiest targets. This is exactly why hot women need to be arrogant. It has nothing to do with you actually being immoral or an arrogant person. It has something to do with you protecting yourself from people that are not willing to work on the things that they need to work on. They cannot handle the power of your presence, so they don't deserve for you to be moral and nice in their company. And this doesn't mean you need to be rude. You should still be a polite person in general. But when it comes to people that pull you down, that try to get you to lower your vibration, hot girls need to be extremely vigilant and very scarce with their power. Because you can either be perceived as mean or you can be a pushover. And you know what happens when you become a pushover? Then eventually you start losing your beauty. You start losing your actual pretty privilege that you worked so hard for because you wanted people to feel good around you. And now you're burning yourself out trying to people please people that don't want to make a difference in their own life, but just don't like seeing someone who's doing better than them. This is exactly one of the reasons why, for example, there are a lot of resentful men out there that want to get a single woman pregnant and make her a baby mama, because these men are not actually willing to take responsibility for themselves. They're not actually willing to do the things that she's doing to progress her own life. So when they see her being confident and taking charge of her own life, the way that they want to get her down is by getting her pregnant so that they can humble her, so that they always have a tie to her and can show her that she couldn't do anymore. And if you're not vigilant enough, and if your boundaries are not strong enough, you're going to want to be morally right and try to show this man that he shouldn't feel bad about himself. You're going to try to do the morally right thing because you're afraid he's going to perceive you as mean. You're afraid he's not going to like you unless you give in. But that's exactly what he wants, because then he can steal your energy so that he can control you. He can make you feel bad about yourself. And so he doesn't have to change. When you're a hot girl who's got a lot going on for yourself, you need to be very protective of your own boundaries. And you need to be better at setting boundaries for yourself, and you need to expect more. And this means you might have to spend much more time alone. And this also means that you can't just be dating anyone and their mom. Because you might have a lot of natural beauty in your youth, and you might be able to go on a couple dates or date a couple guys for a while and still remain beautiful, even if these guys are absolutely terrible. But in the long run, you're gonna be burned out. Maybe these are the type of guys that want you to go 50-50. The way that they want to humble you for being gorgeous is by trying to make you work, trying to make you more tired, trying to make you do more for them so that you can't stand on the pedestal that you were on before you started dating them. Eventually, your pretty privilege will fade away because you did not set boundaries, because you wanted to be morally good to give some random cool guy who had a cool vibe a chance. But when you look more beautiful, you also have to be aware of it. And you have to gatekeep it and you have to protect it. When you put more effort into yourself, you're going to have to expect more effort from the world. You have to adjust yourself to expect more effort. The hotter you look, the more you can expect. And some people might think of you as arrogant for wanting more. Let them think that. Let them think that you're arrogant. Let them think that you're mean. But you are protecting yourself. You are protecting your power because you know that people would not be able to respect and maintain the power that you have if they didn't have certain means. This is why it's important for beautiful girls to understand that they're going to have to date men that are able to take care of them. And I'm not saying you can't have a job on your own, but you're going to need that extra protection like a princess in a castle. Because if you are working a normal job, and if you are forced to be around regular people that are on the low vibration, they are going to have an easier time pulling you down. They are going to have an easier time getting you off your pedestal because they're threatened by you. And when you're in close proximity to people, it's going to be way harder for you to set your boundaries and say no. So you need that protection and you need to spend that extra time alone. Hot girls are more lonely. And that's because people will persecute them for anything. They will tell them that they do this and this and that. They will tell every one of their friends that this hot girl does this and this and that. And a normal human can only take so much of that till they try to dim their light to feel more at ease with the crowd if they haven't done the mental work and they haven't built and acquired the protection that they need. You can still be an absolutely nice person within with the right people, but most people are not going to be the right people because most people are going to be on this vibrational level. So most people are going to see you as mean, and you're going to have to get completely comfortable with the fact that most people are going to see you as mean. You're going to have to cut out a lot of people off from your life. You don't owe people going on their level, because what happens when you let people in that are slightly jealous of you and you do not protect yourself well enough? Well, let's take someone like Regina George from Mean Girls. Regina George had a very small clique of girls, and she was considered mean. Everyone in the school called them the Plastics, and especially Janice Ian had a lot of grudges against Regina George. And when Katie came to the school from Africa, she kind of admired Regina George. She wanted what she had. And Janice Ian had so much resentment towards Regina George that she would do anything to pull her down from her pedestal. When Katie came and sat with the Plastics weren't actually that mean towards her, but they just had very strong boundaries. But Katie wanted to be Regina George, so she started trying to sabotage her. One of the things she did was that she cut her shirt so the bra could be seen through the shirt. But Regina George wasn't fazed by that. She understood that people are going to try to sabotage her, and she's just going to carry it. The same way that she carried the title being a mean girl with honor, because she knew people are going to call her that regardless. But Katie actually truly wanted to sabotage her. And especially Janice Ian didn't even want to do the work to become someone like Regina George. So she would rather just sabotage her through Katie. But Katie wanted to trade places with her. So she did all in her power to make sure that she wouldn't be as beautiful or amazing as she usually were. She made her gain weight by eating weight gainer bars. She tried to steal her boyfriend. Essentially, because Regina George and the Plastics let Katie into the group, this ended up sabotaging Regina George's life because she was too nice. And because she didn't understand and she wasn't aware of the sly way in which Katie was trying to sabotage her till it was too late. She grabs the burn book and she puts her own picture in the burn book and writes horrible things about herself. She does this to reestablish her position as a mean girl because she would rather be the one who is talked about in a mean way. She would rather be the one that people are trying to pull down in the burn book because that protects her. When people fear her and when people think she's mean, she keeps people at a distance and they understand that they need to make a significant effort in order to be in her company. But she wasn't aware enough about what Katie had going on. She wasn't being protective enough of her bubble. This is exactly the reason why she didn't just hang out with everyone. Regina George was so unbelievably gorgeous that if she just hung around with everyone, she would jeopardize her pretty privilege and what she worked so hard to protect every single day. And this is why it is extremely important for you to be very, very intentional with the people that you hang around when you are a hot girl. I'm not saying that Regina George is perfect, but she does know how to set boundaries. And I still wholeheartedly believe that you should be polite rather than be distasteful. But to a lot of people that don't like you or have a lot of resentment towards themselves because they're not as beautiful as you, but they don't want to make the effort, you are going to come off as mean and you are going to come off as someone who's not polite, even though you are polite. You just need to be comfortable with the fact that people are going to call you stuck up, even if you are nice, because you protect yourself. I remember I got invited to a dinner with one of my friends once, and I didn't know it was a family dinner. So when I turned up, her whole family was there. And obviously, I didn't know any of them. So it's not like I'm going to be running around and saying hi to everyone and engaging with crazy conversation. I was perfectly nice towards the people that hosted, super appreciative of them inviting me, thanking them so much for their hospitality. I even brought muffins. But I remember there were a lot of women there that looked at me kind of funny. And I remember I was just sitting and eating my food because obviously I don't really know anyone, so I'm not just going to go up and talk to them about anything. This older woman who has been giving me kind of interesting vibes the whole night started trying to talk to me. And she was asking me all kinds of questions. Where are you from? You don't look like you're from here. And the one thing she said to me was, I didn't think you were going to be the type of person who wanted to talk to anyone. Of course, I'm not going to engage with people when I don't really know them. But the way she said it to me was kind of like I thought I was better than everyone, or that I was mean for not wanting to talk to anyone. It was very clear she had some grudge towards me that she was trying to pass on to me, especially with that whole, well, you don't look like the type of person who wants to talk to anyone. And mind you, I rarely go out to specific events. I'm very much a homebody because I do know that because I stand in my own power, that also means that people will tell me, you seem like the person that just doesn't want to talk to anyone. Of course, I'm not going to be interested in talking to anyone because you're just affirming to me that the way you perceive me is perceiving me as mean. And now you want me to prove to you that I'm not mean. And if you're someone who hasn't worked on standing in your power as a pretty girl, you will want to people please by being like, oh yeah, of course I want to talk. Let's talk. And of course, there's no need to be hostile at all, and that's never what I think you should do. But I did not engage with this woman to please her. I did not try to be extremely nice. I was polite, but I did not reply to her when she said, well, you don't look like the type of person who wants to talk to anyone. Because that is her directly telling me that she feels threatened by my presence. Mind you, I was the only woman there who had makeup on, who wore a skirt. So I was definitely standing out. I didn't look like I fit in, which is of course also why that lady felt comfortable, or actually more felt compelled to talk to me like that. Her inner voice was so loud that she couldn't tame it within herself. She felt like she needed to project it onto me. This is why when it comes to dating, you need to date a man that can protect you both monetarily, but also physically. If you are a beautiful woman, people are going to persecute you. People are going to try to go after you and bring you down. And when you have that much power, you're going to need a man who also has power. He might not have power when it comes to beauty, but he will have resources and he will have a mentality that is all for protecting you. He will understand the power that you have within your beauty, within your essence, within the effort that you put into yourself. And he's going to want to protect that with his whole body and self. He's not going to want to have you working in some office for some other man who can try to domineer you. He's going to want to have you at home. And he's going to put you at home because he sees that you're so beautiful that not everyone should have access to you. He understands that hot girls are more lonely. And this is why you can't just go out and date the funny guy, the cool guy, the guy who's a little vibey. You have to date a guy that has specific traits if you are a hot girl and you want to protect your hotness. Becoming a hot girl is something you can actually do if you actually want a provider man. If you want a man to provide for you and see you as someone who should be protected, it's a really good idea to become more hot. But at the same time, when you are a hot girl, on the other hand, you also have to think about dating a man that wants to protect you, because if he doesn't want to protect you, usually he wants to persecute you in some type of way or form. The type of men who actually respect the power within your pretty privilege are also the type of men that are going to be persecuted for wanting a gold digger woman. Because when they see you with him, automatically you're going to be boosting him. But he's going to be comfortable with it. He's not going to care if he's going to be called a man who wants a gold digger. He knows the value that you have within yourself, and he knows that he provides value for you and you give each other value. So together you're stronger. He feels good, he feels strong, he feels like he has a purpose because he gets to protect you, he gets to take care of you, and you feel happy because you're no longer subjected to being around people that want to pull you down. And when you start dating that type of man and you start getting accustomed to that type of lifestyle, people are going to start calling you a gold digger. But at that point, your vibration is no longer just here, it's like actually up here. And you're going to feel very comfortable with the fact that people are calling you a gold digger, because you understand that they're only saying that because they do not like the fact that you're not going to compromise yourself for other people just because they're so inferior within themselves that they need to project onto other people. But in order to get to that man who will actually protect you, you need to protect yourself first and not date the type of guys who are just there for the vibe. You are going to have to cut a lot of people and a lot of potential partners out of your life. And they're actually not really potential partners because they're never going to be a partner. They're never going to be be someone who's going to feel like your partner if they do not value your pretty privilege. You don't need to give back to people that don't feel good about themselves because they're not going to respect what you're giving back to them. They're only going to pull you down because they see that apart from you being a beautiful person, you're also someone who's willing to give. So they're just going to be trying to take even more and more and more, and they're never going to be satisfied because they're a taker. They're not a giver. The man who's going to be able to provide the life that you need as a beautiful woman, he's going to be a giver. And then you can be a giver around him. You give him peace, you give him certainty, you give him loyalty, and he gives you protection, he gives you nurture, he gives you certainty. You both give. Anyone who's trying to put you down for your beauty is going to be a taker. And you cannot give to them because they're going to try to take and take and take and take until they can't take no more, and then they move on to the next victim. This is why you have to be mean when you're a pretty girl. This is why you have to be firm with your boundaries. This is why you have to be comfortable with people calling you mean for being a pretty girl. Because you can set higher expectations. You can demand more. Because you know how people are going to treat you if you act like you aren't all that. Then people are going to pull you down and pull you down and pull you down. When your vibration rises from here till hot girl here, till even hotter girl up here, you will seem like an alien to some people. People will try to figure you out because you're some other concept that they can't figure out. This is why you have to be more comfortable with being more lonely. If you are a girl who has a lot of pretty privilege, you have to spend more time alone, even if you don't have a partner yet. And especially if you actually want to attract the type of partner that can take care of you and can provide for you and can protect your pretty privilege and nurture it and make you even hotter. You need to gatekeep yourself from people. When you spend more time alone, you're also going to be able to actually level up your pretty privilege and your mental growth and your boundaries even more, because suddenly you have the power to just validate yourself. You're not around anyone else. You're not trying to prove to them that you're good. Now it's all about you, what you want, when you want it, and how you like it. You're going to get so used to your own company that when you step into the quote unquote real world, no one can live up to that. And that is quite okay. Not everyone is supposed to be around a hot girl because not everyone can handle it. And this is why hot girls are actually often also the girls that are most successful and the girls who are more knowledgeable and smart. Beauty and brains go hand in hand, because when you learn how society persecutes a woman who is beautiful, especially in the case where you go from being the smart girl into being the hot girl, you'll understand that your knowledge is actually not appreciated in the environments that are also the ones that pull you down for your looks. This is why I play dumb in a lot of environments, because most environments are actually not really going to respect the knowledge that I do have, and I'm not going to waste my energy and burn myself out trying to prove to anyone that I'm smart. Because I know that I am smart. So in order for me to get more leverage, in order for me not to be in that environment for too long, it is better for me to make people feel like they are smart, they are capable, and that I'm just some ditzy, beautiful woman, because their minds can just about understand that a woman who's beautiful has to be dumb. But they cannot understand that a woman who's beautiful can also be smart. So the smart move in this case for me is actually to play dumb, to make them believe that I'm just some ditzy woman that I do not quite understand, because that protects me. Because not only is beauty a power, but intelligence is too. And together they're such a big weapon, but if people are aware of it, and this is why hot women have to gatekeep themselves. This is why you have to play dumb and play a little ditzy in certain environments to protect yourself. And this is why you can use playing dumb to actually move up socially. Because when you play dumb as a beautiful woman, and at home you focus all of your energy on making yourself the best looking version of yourself and making yourself much more knowledgeable, when you step into the world and you're not coming off as extremely smart and overpowering, the people who are down here are not going to see you as much of a threat. And they're going to feel more capable in your company when you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me? And when you get help from them, you can use your energy and your resources to become even smarter. Instead of you having to put up a shelf, maybe you ask your neighbor to help you come put up the shelf. You could put up the shelf, but it saves you a lot of energy. And that energy you could spend on making yourself look hotter, not be more stressed out. And then you can use your looks to get into better environments where you can now ask people for even bigger favors or be more curious about what they do. And then you'll be able to move up and move up and move up. Make them feel competent. The more you move up socially, by using playing dumb and letting other people feel slightly superior, the more your true personality and your true intellect can come out. Because the more you move up socially, the more people are going to expect you to know. If you're just running around with the people that are vibey down here, they're going to feel threatened by you just knowing very simple things and also being beautiful. But if you start hanging out with billionaires and you're a beautiful woman, you don't have to adjust your ditziness the same way you did with the people that are just vibey. They expect you to know certain things, and then your knowledge can actually shine. So it's actually an extremely smart move for beautiful women that want to be able to show their smartness. Shout out to all the neurodivergent women who are gorgeous and are also encyclopedias. I'm a neurodivergent woman myself, and I know that so many people do not understand and value the value that I give. They get extremely threatened by the fact that I can both be a beautiful woman, but I can also be smart. So it's better for me just to play dumb in environments that cannot grasp the concept of a smart and beautiful woman. Because then when I am in the environments that do, then I don't have to dim my light as much. I'm still curious. I'm still a little in awe and asking them about how they did this and this and that, playing dumb strategically, and then also using looks to seem like you're someone who puts in a lot of effort into yourself. When you step into a higher social class, people are going to expect you to know more. But the only way you can ever climb the social ladder and get into the company of the people that actually do value your intellectual opinion as a beautiful woman is going to be if you're willing to play the game and protect yourself who do not understand the value you provide. It is much better for you to use the playing dumb card around regular people when you're beautiful, because it's going to make you come off as much less intimidating, and then people are going to pass you on more. Because they're going to think to themselves, oh yeah, she's very, very beautiful, but she is kind of ditzy. So I think you can never have both brains and beauty. They're not going to see you as a threat if you act like you don't know too much. And that's actually you protecting yourself from their fragile egos. You're not going to show them all your cards because they don't know how to play the game. They're not going to see the value of those cards. So it's actually one of the smartest moves for you to make as a beautiful woman to play dumb around people that you do not know. Because then they're not going to attach themselves to you, and they're not going to try to bring you down as much as they were, because they can already see your flaws. They're not going to persecute you for so many other things that they usually persecute smart and beautiful women for, because they're going to see, well, you only have beauty, you don't have brains. They're going to think that they outsmarted you. So they're going to feel calm in their soul, and then they're going to go about their merry day, and then you can make your own power moves in silence. You can move on to the people that actually value you. You can use the help that the people that don't value you for more than your looks and people that see you as threatening. If you are smart, you're going to be able to take the help that they're willing to give you with simpler things and leverage that into time that you can spend on yourself and your knowledge, so that you can move into even better spaces, and you can do the same over and over again until one day you're actually with your billionaire husband. You don't have to lift a finger. You're completely protected, and you can share all of your business ideas with him, and you can build yourself a business empire, and you can give back to all of the people and all of the animals that you think deserve to be given back to. It's kind of like trying to teach a first grader 10th grade algebra. You don't do it because they don't understand it. And if you try to force them to do it, they're going to call you irritating. They're going to get frustrated because they can't figure it out. And they're going to make you feel like you're the bad one. You have to be smart about the situations that you put yourself in as a hot girl. And people will tell you off for being who you are. And people will also tell you off for protecting yourself. This is why sometimes you just got to stay quiet and you just got to look pretty. Let people believe what it is they want to believe about you. Throw in a couple wild cards that make it seem like you're actually ditzy and that you don't know how to do everything. The world doesn't like powerful and beautiful women. They want to take them off their pedestal, but you deserve to be on your pedestal. You've worked hard for it. You can be both smart and beautiful, but you need to be in the environments that actually preserve, protect, and nurture both your beauty and your brains. And the only way for you to do that is to be strategic about not letting those who are afraid of your beauty and your brains be able to get close to you. This is why you need to gatekeep yourself. This is why you need to spend more time on your own. This is why you need to build yourself up mentally, because you understand that you deserve to be in an environment that does not feel inferior to you in your presence. You are an asset. You are amazing. You are gorgeous. You are beautiful. Don't be afraid to be seen as mean. You do not need to make an effort towards those that do not want to make an effort at understanding the power that you hold. Hot girls, gatekeep yourself.